Thank you once again for joining us at today's anaSudan forum. It's a forum that we produce basically or hold every Saturday, and we are super excited to be talking about an angle that's not specifically related to society, but surprisingly, as the conversation proceeds, I think it's going to have as we talked earlier, a socio-economic perspective. So thank you to Omeima Ismaiel. Omeima, you're an architect and interior designer. You're founder of the Architects Hub in Qatar. You're a holder of a bachelor's degree in architecture from the University of Khartoum, and you have a master's degree in architectural design management from, and I hope I pronounce it correctly, Instituto de Empresa in Spain. That's amongst many of your achievements. I think we'll be here all day if we start listing them. We've given you
That's so kind of you.
We've given you half a day, a couple of literally, or a couple of hours to fill in for us, because the original speaker cancelled on us last minute. So we are absolutely grateful. You're going to talk to us today with under the umbrella of a title. What is the first step in your dream home in Sudan? Your thoughts. So for everybody attending with us, thank you for joining us.
For this introduction. I'm very grateful to be part of this community and a fantastic initiative. So thank you for the opportunity, and thank you to everybody for coming on board. Well, so we should just jump straight into the topic. I know the idea of the dream home in Sudan is like an elusive target with all the challenges that one faces there: cost, time, trust, who, how, when. It's like a big investment in terms of thinking and in terms of budget. So what I wanted to do was to hear the thoughts of everybody on board today, about what the challenges are and what is the first step towards achieving and realizing your dream home. This talk is intended for, in my opinion, to be an open conversation and for people to share their thoughts. And I wanted to approach this by challenging a different way. It's not like how you're going to build the house or design it. It's not the brick and mortar element or the construction element of it. What I wanted to do was to challenge the status quo of the thought process that people normally adopt when embarking on this adventure, how to build a home. So I'll talk for a short while, share my thoughts, then hear from you. First, I want to clear something. I haven't ever, well, except for the very first years of college, worked in Sudan. I've always worked on the outside. But the nostalgia remains, I think, like everybody else, of the dream to have a home there and settle among relatives and just to be in a home in Sudan. So this talk is not really to show you the actual steps of how the authorities work, what the regulations are, or how to buy the land or how to build it. Rather, I would like to propose a mental process that may help you know what you want and how to approach making decisions as you embark on this project. And especially in Sudan, which would require a lot of time, budget, and there's a lot of risk dealing with issues of trust and construction. We've heard so many stories about that. So, and Renda's told you about me. I've still had all my experience here in Qatar, but lately, I suppose as age comes in, you start to think really it's time to go back. I'm thinking and questioning the profession of architecture itself. So, because building your home requires perhaps you to consult with an architect. And then I created, as a result of this thought, and looking around me, I decided that architecture is not doing people a great justice, is it? It affects your life in more ways than one. And I noticed an ugly aspect. There's a lot of ugliness around buildings and communities and roads and streets. And not just in Sudan, it's just actually rather, if you research it, it's rather global in cities. And that aspect of ugliness is what I wanted to draw your mind to as a person who wanted to design their own house or build their own house, and the impact of your decisions. So the question would be, who here actually lives in a building, works in a building, navigates through buildings, gets inspired by beautiful spaces, and gets really upset by ugly ones? So buildings, spaces, and home, in the end, they affect the emotional, let's say, aspect of human beings and humanity itself. So that for me is really important. And this is one of the reasons why I created the Architects Hub. It's a way to get architects to actually engage with each other, to peer engage, and also to connect to their wider community. And the community is not just the market or the professionals they deal with, it's also the people who experience their architecture. So whenever you put a pen on paper and design something, that pen's going to go beyond your paper and beyond your immediate client. It will affect everybody in the community. And this is what I really like to focus on. So what is the first step really? What is it? It depends from person to person. You may say buy land or buy property, that'd be the first thing. Then find an architect, design, then get designs made, decisions made, get the contractor, build it, furnish it, move in. Every one of those steps is a lot of detail. And if we go back into the values of we grew up with al-itqan fil amal, to do when you do things, you do it right. Look at the detail of it and to be careful and mindful. So these are values. So the usual steps to actually building your home, basically, you would consult before you buy. So you'd ask your father or brother or relative or friend, where's the best piece of land? And you find the land, and then you decide what you want your home to look like. Is it a kitchen, a 2 stories, 3 stories, big ground, garden, whatever, your dream. You pour it in there. Then you find an architect to realize your dream. Then you discover that, okay, there's a budget issue. How this home function is my budget. And in the end, you marry the budget with your dreams and you compromise here and there and you get to the building. And then you set your budget and you start building. And thereon starts Allah ma'akum. Long story. We've heard so many stories. So I suppose what I wanted to say, perhaps that you should think beyond yourself and include your immediate household and go one layer behind the wall of your home and into your neighborhood and into your community and into your society and into your economy and into your environment. And the environment is huge. It's socioeconomic, political, climate, your legacy, the impact of your one decision or the many decisions you make to create your home and how they impact you and your community. So it's not just a process of what normally people do is think only in themselves, look online, find a design they really love, and try to make a way to do it or make it happen. Whereas we see a lot of people live outside and they have this idea of the home they're living in, whether it's in the Emirates or in England or in any part of the world, and they want to bring that and just put it there and live in it. It's all good, but tie it in with the environment. And this is what I'm trying to share today. So if we were to consider the ripple effect of your building or decisions on your family, on your neighbors, and your community. For example, Sudan is, which part of Sudan is big? Which part? What is the climate there? What's the macro and the micro climate? Sun is in the north and east and west. It sets in the west. It rises in the east. North and south, that's with the wind. So basically how you locate your building is number one. So this is where design is important. In many areas, people are not aware of what the architect actually does. And they think, okay, I just need a contractor. I got this design online, get a contractor, he builds it and we're good. But design is really important. And I'm not have the solution for you. It just depends on the architect and their ethos and the way they practice. If they're sustainable minded, if they're mindful of design, maybe in my opinion, that would be the best way to go. A lot of them are just looking for a way to make a living and they would just implement whatever the client wants. So I really wanted the client to be more aware of how the decision to build will affect them and their society. And also in the situation of Sudan, how it affects the immediate neighborhood, the community, and the market. So the decisions you choose to employ the services of who or what, the products you're going to use in your home project, how these decisions will benefit your society and community. For example, the architect would be great you could get an architect from Italy. That would be very nice. But then if you were to get one in Sudan, that would be fantastic. When you decide how to build your house, the materials, how you're going to furnish it or fit in or fit out, if you would get supplies and products that are made in Sudan and engage with the skills of the people, which is local. So going local would be fantastic. So the decision in the long term will help you maintain your home. So if something breaks in the house, you know who to go to in Sudan. I see a lot of things happening, a lot of trends where people fly to China or Turkey and they buy things, and the house of the first few years is amazing. As soon as things start to break down and you start to maintain it, it becomes a running cost that's really expensive. So the dream would not continue to be a dream for long. The dream may be in paper, in a picture. And then once the process really starts, it's a long-term thing. To maintain it, you really need to think from the get-go how to make it happen. So in the long term, the dream flourishes or ages gracefully, like the old buildings we all love to live around. In every city you visit is the old sector, and it's absolutely beautiful. And there's a secret there. So in Sudan, what are the challenges? What do we hear? For instance, when I was studying, like last century, long time, when we designed something, we had to think of the goats and the thieves. So the house would have to be, you can't have plants outside unless you put a cage around them. You can't have an open garden because the goats will just come and eat it. And when a goat eats from a plant, we heard it doesn't grow well. You have to think of thieves coming in. So how you put bars and how you raise the walls, and that is part of the design. But this is a reflection of trust of the society and the security in the environment. So in my opinion, it's like a circle. So if you could fix the trust, fix the values, fix the security, you wouldn't have to bother about a lot of things. So how can your decision to create your home affect or propagate your values? So what I'm trying to say here is maybe the first step in designing or starting to build your home, build it or make it, it doesn't have to be built, you could buy property, would be how it supports your values. For me, for instance, beauty is an important aspect of any decision. Beauty is what the trend normally is. You build a house and the way you furnish it inside is the beauty aspect of it, and how it looks on the outside is a beauty aspect of it. But then what if you thought about how your building engaged with the person, the pedestrian, walking right next to the wall? How does your building affect the road? How does your building affect the carpenter who lives in the next district? How does your building affect the grocery store? How does your decision? So maybe where to locate your building, the first thing you do is see who your neighbors are going to be, how you're going to create a community. I've heard somebody has there are many initiatives in Sudan right now happening in the area of urban design. One person I heard was encouraging or has an idea to invite people to get together, like friends or community of people to get together, and they together would buy land that's next to each other and create their homes within it. So they create immediately a neighborhood built on trust and security. Everybody knows everybody. That's one way to go around it, but I'm not sure. I don't have all the solutions. I just have lots of questions to share. So the home can be at the very basic level is just a home, is a shelter, but then the home has a ripple effect, sort of affects the neighbors, the community, the society. I keep saying that over again because basically it's what's in my mind. It goes beyond brick and mortar into something more emotional. And then decisions of, are you going to make it brick? Are you going to make it cement? What style is going to be? For instance, air conditioner is a big thing. Air conditioning is really expensive. But Sudan is a hot, dry climate. Or Khartoum, let's say, hot and dry. You only need water coolers really to keep things. Why get AC everywhere? AC has negative effect on lots of things beyond your home. And the wiring and the maintenance, it's a lot of thought into all the details. So apart from getting your values in place and deciding what you want to do and getting the brief is basically how you want your home to look and what's going to be in it. And now, especially with COVID-19, even us architects are thinking the regular structure of building your home or design is not going to be the same anymore. The home is going to be like a box of options. It's going to be where you live, you work, you grow your plants. It's like going to be like a little ecosystem in itself to support you in every aspect. So how you navigate that is based on a cycle of values or a circle of values, a set of values. And this is basically, generally speaking, my introduction. Sorry for taking such a long time. Thank you. Now we can open the ground.
Brilliant. Thank you, Omeima.